Welcome to the hidden corners where truth and terror collide. Discover a realm where the lines between the living and the supernatural blur as you embark on a journey to the paranormal and visit the mysterious hidden corners of your mind.
Welcome to the Wolfman Chronicles. This is Chapter 10 of Book 8, which makes it Episode 100. And we're in Thailand, and the title is Smoke and Mirrors. In the labyrinth of Sang Wat, the chamber still smelled of smoke and scorched blood. Jack crouched on the cold stone floor, feeling defeated. The others stood nearby, exchanging quiet, tense words. Sang Wat had fled, and he had taken his demon with him. "We need to move," Dara said at last, her voice clipped and firm. "He's not finished. This place is still alive with his magical smoke and mirrors, and he has the upper hand." Miguel glanced at the far walls where shadows flickered, even without flame. "There's more to this temple than what we've seen. Sang Wat has tunneled deeper than any of our maps show." Dara looked at the others with a look of concern. "If what you say is true and Sang Wat thinks that he's the one that summoned the wolf, then let's give him some more of what he wants. I say we divide up into groups, one wolf per group. He may think he's powerful enough to summon a wolf, but he doesn't know how to transform into one. We have something that he can't do, and I'll bet my life on the fact that he wants that more than anything." Nadia looked nervously around the room. "I don't understand. Why would he have his demon attack Jack if he really believes that he summoned him? Why take a chance on hurting or possibly killing him if summoning the wolf means he's achieved some perfection of his powers?" Dara nodded. "Now that's a good question. Who knows what goes on in his warped mind? I think it was kind of a test, and possibly to see if Jack was real." Jack moved slowly, the pain in his ribs flaring again. His eyes were fixed on the mouth of one of the 3 stone corridors stretching into the darkness. A low growl escaped his lips. He wanted to find Sang Wat. The longer they waited, the more difficult that would become. "All right, Miguel, you take Julian and search that western tunnel. Nadia and Alexei take Sasha and search the southern tunnel. Now I'll stay with Jack, and we're going to search that eastern tunnel. Check in every 5 minutes. Make sure that your tracker is turned on so we'll know exactly where each other is at all times. And beware that these tunnels might be full of tricks and booby traps. So keep your eyes, keep your ears open. If you see anything that looks promising, don't explore it on your own. Wait till we go all together. We meet back here 20 minutes. Well, the eastern tunnel yawned like the gullet of a beast. A damp breath exhaled from the darkness ahead, carrying the scent of rotting flesh, scorched fur, and stale incense. Jack and Dara moved cautiously, the beam from Dara's flashlight slicing across walls etched with strange geometric patterns and symbols that shifted when not directly observed. The corridor seemed to pulse with breath. Every step that they took echoed back at them threefold, creating the illusion of footsteps behind them. Dara's hand hovered near her blade. "God, this place isn't built like a temple," she murmured. "It's more like a trap that's alive." Jack stared at the walls, watching them shift and undulate as he padded by them on his 4 feet, the fur on the back of his neck bristling. They rounded a bend, and now the corridor was covered with mirrors of all shapes and sizes. They weren't just ordinary mirrors, but warped silver sheets embedded into the stone at irregular intervals, their surfaces rippling like liquid. Jack caught glimpses of himself as the wolf, snarling, wounded, and eyes glowing. Behind him, Dara stood gazing into the mirror. Her eyes were black voids, and she held a dagger to his spine, ready to strike. Jack spun around, teeth bared, but there was no weapon. Sangwat wants us to doubt what's real, Dara said, her voice low and thick. He's twisting perception like a magician twisting a blade. Well, as they pushed forward, the tunnel narrowed, then opened abruptly into a chamber lined with hundreds of hanging chains, each one ending in a mask. Some were made of bone, others leather, some had human teeth embedded in the mouth. And as they walked through the chamber, each mask whispered. Some mocked, others begged. One, in a small child's voice, repeated Dara's name over and over and over, making her flinch. Jack nuzzled her hand and moved her along, but he couldn't drown out the one that spoke his name with his father's voice. Nadia and Alexei, followed by Sasha, entered the southern tunnel. The walls were slick and veined, covered in a mucus-like substance that glistened in the dim red light. Torches burned upside down, their flames dripping upward, casting shadows that didn't move with their hosts. Nadia held her breath. It smells like a butcher shop. They turned a corner and they saw a hallway lined with iron cages, and inside of these cages, girls in tattered dresses, eyes wide, hands clinging to the bars. Nadia's stomach clenched. One of the girls looked just like her, yet younger, thin and pale with hollow eyes. Do you see that? She whispered to Alexei. It's not real, he said quickly. Keep walking. But the cages followed them, sliding along the walls like they were on hidden rails, the children whispering, Don't leave us here. Nadia clenched her fist and held onto the fur that bristled on Sasha's neck. She wanted to bury her face in that soft fur and cry. The sadness in this room was more than she could bear. Sasha quickly led her away, further down the tunnel and away from the sadness and pain. The western tunnel was icy cold. Miguel and Julian's breath steamed in the frozen air. The floor, solid ice. The walls and the ceilings lined with rows of ice crystals. He's freezing our perception of reality, Miguel stated out loud. He's making us think it's cold when it's really hot. This is all just a theater. Sangwat's funhouse of damnation, and I don't see anything in here that'll lead us to his hiding spot. Julian glanced away and continued to tread up that frigid corridor. After several more yards, it opened up into a small chamber that looked like the inside of an igloo, and at the center of the chamber were two crystal-clear blocks of ice, carved into the shape of tombstones. "I suppose those are meant for us?" Miguel asked. Suddenly, from all directions came a soft, mournful chanting in a language neither of them had ever heard. It continued to get louder until it was more of a scream. Julian leaned his head back and howled, a deep, earthly howl that echoed throughout the chamber. The chanting stopped immediately, and all that was left was the reverberating echo. "Now you've done it," Miguel chided. Julian turned and padded back up the corridor. Meanwhile, at the far end of the eastern tunnel, Jack and Dara stared at a single stone door at the end of the corridor. A symbol glowed at its center. It was a wolf, pierced by a crown of jagged thorns. "I think we just found the door to the inner sanctum," Dara whispered. "Let's go get the others." Once again in the central chamber they regrouped, shaken and weary. Jack had taken his true form again, dressing in the light clothing that Dara had brought him. Sasha and Julian had done the same. "You know he's watching our every move," Sasha said, glancing around her. "How could he not be? He's full of every trick in the book. And that's why we know he doesn't want to kill us. Well, at least not yet," Dara replied. "Yeah, and maybe he's playing a game of cat and mouse and just waiting for the right moment after he's done playing with us," Alexei muttered. "Well, we can't fight him like this," Jack replied. "We have to change the rules. Stop playing his game and make him play ours." Miguel leaned forward. "So, just what do you have in mind?" Jack looked up and slowly spun in a circle, letting his eyes linger on every column, every statue. "Sang what?" he called out. "I don't know where your cameras are, but I know that you can see us and hear us, and I know that you want the wolf." Everyone stared, unsure if Jack was offering himself as a sacrifice or had something else in mind. Jack continued. "You want to know what it's like to be me. I saw it in your eyes. You don't fear me. You crave me. You want to become me. Well, I tell you what. You show yourself here with no tricks, and I'll show you how it's done. I'll bite you." He turned again, facing another direction. "But I'll give you the ability to really change into a wolf under one condition only. You have to call off everything, release the girls, and shut down the network. Is it worth it to you, Konsang Wat? How bad do you want to be a wolf?" "Jack," Sasha whispered, "are you serious? You'd make him into a wolf? This madman?" Dara's voice was like ice. "It's dangerous. It's reckless." Jack's voice was calm and barely a whisper. "So is everything else we've tried. Trust me on this." "Sang what?" Jack's voice boomed across the hollow chamber. "In 3 days, there will be a full moon. If you choose to accept my offer, be waiting in the courtyard under the light of the moon. I will be there." Silence fell across the room. The bait was set. Far below the shattered chambers and whispering tunnels, Sang Wat sat in the hollow of his sanctum. The room pulsed with a faint glow. Candles burned in wall sconces. Incense smoldered in a bronze bowl carved with the bones of an unknown beast. On the wall, dozens of monitors showed every inch of his temple grounds, inside and out. He sat cross-legged in the center of the room, hands resting on his knees, eyes open and unblinking, focused on the screen that showed Jack and the others, but his mind raced like a storm. The wolf had offered him the gift. Jack's words echoed through Sang Wat's skull like the tolling of ancient bells. "I'll bite you." He felt it again now. The sensation that had haunted him ever since he was a boy. That power, that wildness, that purity. Jack, he was no illusion, no mask, no illusionist's trick. He was what Sang Wat had only dreamed of becoming, a creature without limitation. "Just imagine how people will fear me." Sang Wat had spent his life mastering illusion. Smoke, mirrors, misdirection. He had studied every folklore, summoned demons with blood rituals, He was the king of shadows, a master puppeteer. He was a master of magic. But it wasn't enough. He wanted more than control over the mind. He wanted domination over the body. He wanted to shed this human skin and become a god, a legend. That was the final threshold. Not sorcery, not showmanship. Metamorphosis. To tear through the veil of manhood and emerge as something eternal. He trembled with anticipation. The bite. Yes, the bite. That was the key. The curse. The sacred infection. The bridge between realms. Sangwat grinned in the dark. They think they'll trap me, he whispered. They think they'll bait me, but I'm smarter than they are. His voice dropped to a murmur. And they have no idea what I'm about to become. He walked to the mirror at the far end of the sanctum. Not a reflection, but a portal. A shimmering veil of silver smoke. In it, he didn't see himself. He saw the wolf, Jack, mid-transformation, fur splitting from flesh, eyes glowing gold, a mouth full of fangs and fury. Sangwat pressed his hands against the mirror, his breath fogged it. I'll become more than you, he whispered. You are the prototype. I am the perfection. He turned back towards the altar, and laid out across it were talismans, bones, a vial of blood. He began to chant. His body shuddered, his eyes rolling back. Magic churned like a hurricane around him. He would take the gift, and then he would become the myth. Night fell fast over the jungle temple. A veil of clouds slid across the moon, casting the ruins in deep silver and black. And back in the makeshift war room in the jungle, Jack paced with his arms crossed as he muttered out his plan one more time. He wants the bite. He's obsessed with it. I give it to him, but on our terms. Julian leaned over the table. You think he'll just show up? Oh, I know he will, Jack replied. He believes that this is the final step to becoming something more, a god. And that's why he's never left this place. Nadia's eyes were dark. And what if the bite actually works on him? Jack met her gaze. It won't. I can deliver the wound without completing the turn. Just enough to make him believe. Dara stepped forward. Where are you going to do it? We need to be able to capture him. Well, we draw him to the reflecting pool behind the temple, Jack said. He'll see it as symbolic. It'll appeal to his ego, and the full moon, well, it'll be dramatic. Just his style. Miguel exhaled slowly. And then? Well, then I bite him. Jack's voice was iron. And when he starts to believe it's happening, when he lets his guard down, you move in. Alive or dead? Alexei asked. Jack's mouth was a hard line. Whatever it takes to stop him. They were all silent. Then Julian spoke up. You know, this guy is just a little too smart. What if he already believes it's a trap? What if he has some tricks up his sleeves? I mean, he's already fooled us once. Jack looked at him. Let him believe he's outplaying us. Let him think that this is his game. We go in knowing it might be all smoke and mirrors, and that's our edge. Julian leaned back. All right, let's roll the dice. Deep beneath the jungle floor, Sangwat moved with fluid grace through the labyrinths of tunnels. Shadows bent around him as if obeying his will. His footsteps made no sound. He had accepted Jack's offer without hesitation, but not because he trusted it. Sang Wat had no illusions about the nature of his enemies. He welcomed the trap, not as prey, but as predator. The reflecting pool, a place of myths, a place of symbols. Perfect. He ran his fingers along the obsidian stones lining the central corridor of his private catacombs. He whispered in tongues, ancient and cursed. The stones vibrated, faintly glowing red. They could see the pool as neutral ground, but Sang Wat had walked through the fires of deceit too long to leave anything to chance. He would prepare the battlefield and turn it into a stage. An exact replica of Jack's transformation would appear behind him, summoned through illusion. Jack's howl, Jack's snarl, Jack's golden eyes, mimicked to perfection. And more than that, he would flood the outer perimeter with sensory illusions, not just sights and sounds, but smells, textures, and even the sense of pain. By the time Jack reached him, he would doubt what was real. And when that wolf came in close, teeth bared, ritual complete, Sang Wat would strike with a cursed shard of enchanted obsidian, soaked in his own blood. He would not become a wolf. Not yet. He would trap the wolf, lock Jack between man and beast, freeze the curse in place. And when Jack writhed in agony, no longer able to shift, no longer able to fight, Sang Wat would take his blood and his heart and consume the power whole. A rewriting of fate. He saw it all now, his face painted on banners, worshipped as the beast who conquered beasts. He would not just be legend, he would be a god. What he hadn't foreseen, of course, was that Jack had already anticipated this. Back in their tent, Sasha curled against Jack's warm body, her hand resting on his shoulders. I know what he's going to do, he said. He's going to mirror me. He's going to use illusions. He's going to try to turn my own curse against me. Well, how can you stop him? Sasha asked. I can't, Jack said, but I can prepare for it. The soft shush of waves against the sand was the only sound on the sleepy shore of Koh Rong Island. The sun was just beginning its descent, painting the water in streaks of orange and gold. The breeze carried with it the smell of salt and jasmine, and Rachel leaned against the counter of the small beach cafe, watching a pair of German backpackers sip iced coffee under the awning. David stood next to her, scribbling a note onto the order pad with a pencil tucked behind his ear. He spoke Thai, Khmer, and some Vietnamese, but when it came to helping English-speaking tourists, he relied on Rachel, and she'd taken to the task with surprising ease. Is this your first job? He'd asked her about a week ago. She smiled, and she said the first one that didn't involve a lemonade stand. Now she was the smile at the cafe, the island girl with sun-brushed cheeks and salt-waved hair. Every day she brewed coffee, delivered mango smoothies, and guided guests to their bungalows, and laughed at bad travel jokes. And every night she counted the hours since Jack and Sasha had left. She didn't show it, not in front of David, but her heart was heavy. She missed them. They weren't just her guardians anymore, they were her parents, the kind that actually cared if she was safe, the kind that had brought her into a family, wolf genes and all, and didn't flinch. She wiped down a table slowly, staring out at the distant horizon. I hope they're okay, she whispered. David looked up from his clipboard. What? Nothing, she said quickly, flashing him a grin. Just thinking out loud. But the truth was, Her thoughts were a storm of prayers, silent, urgent ones. Sometimes at night, she heard the howl echoing in her mind. Not real, but memory. She remembered how he had saved her life when the mountain lion had charged at her. Rachel wrapped her arms around herself and turned towards the back patio of the cafe. The plane crash in Alaska seemed years ago. When she had lost her parents in the crash, she thought if the cold and the snow didn't kill her, that she would just die of a broken heart. But here, under the soft Cambodian moonlight, with her feet in the sand and her heart tethered to people who really gave a damn, she felt something different. She felt whole. She closed her eyes. "Come back safe," she whispered.
Hi, everyone. This episode is incredibly special to me. Not only are we celebrating our 2-year anniversary this July, but this marks the 100th episode of the Wolfman Chronicles. That's 100 weeks of writing this story, of storytelling, suspense, werewolves, and emotional reunions, all written by yours truly, week after week. Considering that I've been writing these episodes while also remodeling a ranch, yes, with real hammers and dust and goats and chickens, it feels like a massive accomplishment. And if that weren't enough, Clay and I have also been hard at work creating and manufacturing our all-natural product, BH Stop, our answer to bug bites, stings, and anything that makes your skin itch. So, at this big milestone, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us on this wild, weird, heartfelt ride. Your support and enthusiasm are what keep this dream alive every single week. You all are amazing, and you make this worthwhile. So what's next? Well, we're getting ready to launch channel memberships, which means soon you'll be able to listen to episodes ad-free. Yes, no more annoying interruptions. And as a member, you'll also get access to exclusive content that regular subscribers won't see. So stay tuned, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Here's to the next 100 episodes of the Wolfman Chronicles. From Ginger and Clay and Jack and Sasha and all the rest of the gang, big hugs to all of you. Thank you for listening to this week's episode, and I hope you'll join us next week for another installment of the Wolfman Chronicles. And until then, have a great week, everyone.